So what do you do now that you don't have a job? You just, like, lounge around?
I work.
I mean, like, a proper job.
What would you define as a proper job? Because I was defining being a CEO of a company as being a pretty cushy, unreal job.
An unreal job? So you're saying you don't have a real job? By your own definition?
No, I was comparing it to your definition.
It's my definition.
My job is playing computer games and editing together videos of them.
You've basically indicated that my job is a CEO of a company. It's not really.
I am technically the CEO of my company of me.
I am the CEO of my company.
You work for a company.
It's the company of Shut the Hell Up.
And I was about to make you my chief financial officer, and you had to go and say that. You blew it. You blew the. I'll give your brother a job. He needs one.
The money all comes from me anyway. From my jazz. From
striptease.
From the striptease. I was going to say from the sparkle that I bring to your channel, but
that's not true. Half the editing I have to do is cutting out all your racism.
What's racism?
Well, if you're going to besmirch my reputation, I might as well do the same to yours.
There's no such thing
as your reputation. Ooh.
Now, just remember what I had to cut out at the start of this podcast.
Calling my former co-workers a bad word. As we were discussing earlier, you have a short video clip of me swearing non-stop for 5 seconds because I didn't want you to use what was being said prior to it.
That's a good way of getting around things. I wonder whether or not, like, that would be a brilliant way for politicians to get away with, like, murder, because you could say something bad, like in an interview. Let's say you were getting interviewed on, like, BBC, right? During, daytime hours, no swearing, blah, 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 blah. You just start swearing after you've said something that you shouldn't really have said. You just start swearing, then they can't use the footage. Obviously, they could cut it so they could use the stuff beforehand, but
That's how they could get around Prime Minister's questions and whatnot being live. Throw in a few swears every so often, and it wouldn't, and then that would be off the telly, and everyone would be very happy. And they would stop acting like children.
I'm going to trademark this. This is going to be my manoeuvre, and I'm calling it the Father Jack defense. Hello and welcome to the braingohurty gaming podcast. This is episode 49. We're approaching the big 5-0. I'm Blighty, joined by Flick.
Ooh.
Yeah, boo to you too.
We're going to have to do something special for number 50. We won't, but we should.
Take off your pants and dance around a little.
Okay. It's not like anyone can see. Why not?
I got nothing. Yeah, so gaming.
Late again.
Yes,
break that up.
Late again. Somebody else kind of screwed things up.
No, you did twice.
Twice.
On late.
How did I do it twice? Once.
No, twice. It's just that we also had something else to do on the second night. Which we'll get into later once we start talking about what we've been playing.
That was your fault. Anyway, so yes, usually kick things off with what we've been playing. For quite some time now, I haven't really been playing an awful lot of different things. However...
Can I guess your list for once?
You can guess it, and then we can go through and break it down then. So
break it down, Holmes.
Let's see if you can guess it in the order I've written it down as well.
Probably not, but let's go. Tomb Raider.
Yep, that's in there.
Space Marine.
That's in there.
Warframe.
That's in there.
Bioshock.
That's in there.
Am I missing one?
No, you got it all.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm definitely missing one. Dead Island.
So, yes, you were missing one.
Dead Island Riptide. Did I get them in the order in which you wrote them?
No.
Bugger.
I could be saying that, but no.
Yeah, that could be a really big lie, yeah.
No, I wrote them in the order that I was playing them.
Okay, so you may pick one and chat away about it.
Warframe. Let's have a little bit of banter about that. We've both been playing that. It's still fun, but I think...
Still free?
It's still free. Still free. You can't go wrong with free.
Yeah, you can't complain too much when something is free.
I mean, if a prostitute happens to give you all sorts of diseases, well, if she was free, you get what you paid for.
You do. So we've paid nothing, so therefore
it's
been reasonably fun, and we are riddled with Warframe STDs. we got really into the MMO mentality of farming bosses to get parts for new frames to try them out rather than buying them.
That's true. We did. It's
fighting the system of giving in, I suppose.
I think it's because we're old school and we're used to it, and it's like...
Yeah, we are used to the grinding.
In the grand scheme of things, the amount of grinding we did in Warframe, nowhere near compared to stuff in the past. Nowhere near.
It's funny you say that, because just before we started, I was reading on Nintendo Life about the DuckTales remake.
Oh yeah, I was telling you about this in a couple of podcasts ago, wasn't I?
Exactly, but specifically they were doing an interview about how the new generation of gamers cope compared to old generation. So they had to do tests using younger people, not just older 30-somethings who remember DuckTales.
Right, okay.
So they were saying that the first roadblock they ran into was the people, kids today, gamers today, they don't know who Uncle Scrooge is.
They
recognise him, they recognise Huey, Dewey and Louie from the Kingdom Hearts game and such like, but they don't really know him because they never saw his cartoon, and that was pretty much the only thing he was prevalent in.
Philistines.
And then they also did some weird stuff, like, hang on, let me see if I can read this. Do you remember the pogo stick mechanic he had with his cane? That was kind of his way of fighting enemies in the DuckTales game. They didn't really understand that. They kind of get Disney-type focused things, they said. And the other weirdest thing was the interviewer asked, so what about secret passages? DuckTales is full of them. Did the kids figure this out? His reply was, kids nowadays don't think that way. That's why we needed to have a cutscene in there to explain that you have to look for walls. Secrets in walls, rather.
Actually, thinking this through, this is actually something that cropped up recently, right?
Oh, excuse my dog.
Your dog's got some...
she has strong opinions on manga and anime, and she also has strong opinions on DuckTales.
When I approach a puzzle in a game, I think about it from a gamer's perspective. And I know that sounds kind of elitist, but I go, right, okay, it's not going to be something really stupidly obvious and easy. You know, I'll think, right, okay, the game mechanics will allow me to do this, or they won't allow me to do X, Y, and Z. You think, this person should just be able to climb up that wall, but it's not going to be possible because it's just not a game mechanic. It's not been put in. And every once in a while, if I'm playing something and Vicky's watching, she'll go, oh, why don't you try this? I'm thinking, that never fucking work. They don't put that sort of thing. That's like... You know, that's just like too simple. That's too real, or not game mechanic enough. And lo and behold, they've put it in because it is the most obvious, simple solution. And I'm wondering if it's because they're trying to dumb games down.
I think in this case, it's because the side-scrolling platformer is pretty dead, so people aren't accustomed to the way they operate.
I just mean in general, like I can't remember. I think it was a Tomb Raider puzzle or something. Not even so much a puzzle. It was like I was trying to go somewhere. And I thought, the game mechanics won't allow me to do whatever it was. I can't put my finger on it right now. And lo and behold, it just did. And I was just like, oh, all right, okay. It
will let me do that thing that I can't remember what it was. I like when that happens.
It struck me at the time, but I didn't think anything of it. And now that you've mentioned it about like kids not getting slightly more complex things, we would go hunting for secret passages and stuff. That sounds...
Sandy Cove. That was just not a random aside, it's just a strange coincidence. I was reading that prior to us getting started.
So, yeah, we've been playing Warframe. It's fun while it's free. I don't know how much longer I can play it because
it's pretty much gone to the wayside now thanks to something coming out that we're playing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's there. It's free. It's probably always going to be free to play because it won't go subscription model.
Shall I batter through the rest of my list before we start going into anything in depth?
Well, quite a few things on your list will also be on mine, so what's next on yours?
Well, I've got Tomb Raider on here, having finished it finally.
Oh yeah, you finally finished it, so what were your thoughts after finishing it?
So obviously I put it down because other things came up, like Warframe and stuff. I really enjoyed it. I get from, it was a couple of podcasts ago that you were ranting about things like the story and stuff.
Very specifically the writer, not I still sung the praise of the game.
The overall story arc and stuff is good, but I get what you were saying about, like, suddenly she's all like, oh, vulnerable, I can't do this. Then she's like, going through
she's fine, then she's vulnerable, and then she's fine. And then at the end you take on an army.
I liked it, and I liked a lot of the mechanics and stuff, and it didn't feel like when I was watching the E3 footage, it felt like it was going to be, oh shit, this is going to be Gears of Raider. Tomb Gears. Lara Phoenix or whatever. But it didn't play like that at all to me. Maybe it's just because of my particular playstyle.
Wouldn't it be terrible if Cliff Bleszinski made a Tomb Raider game? She'd be named Lara Dick Tits.
Lara Dick Tits. Oh, that's a horrible image. That's just...
It's been done. It's the internet. Oh, carry on.
God.
Sorry, carry on.
I didn't really use the cover mechanics as much as I thought I would need to.
I stick with stealth a bit more? Or?
Yeah, I did fair amount of stealth, and I more or less exclusively stuck with the bow, which kind of helps you remain stealth.
It's essentially a silenced sniper.
Yeah, exactly. I enjoyed it, and
you recommend it?
I would. The puzzles, I'm annoyed that there weren't more puzzles, and
yes, that's what I said as well. I liked the tomb puzzles in it. There wasn't enough of them.
There was one that I was stumped on because I was trying to think 3 steps ahead of the puzzle. And it only got me stumped for about, I don't know, maybe it was about 10 minutes total before I realised that I was...
10 minutes is a pretty long time.
I know. I was being really stupid because I was trying to go like further on through where...
I think it's the one, I bet it's the same one I kind of struggled with, where there's a lift and you have to get up high.
No. I battered through that one. It was the one with the electricity.
It's been a while since I played it. I can't remember the one with.
There was only one with electricity, but anyway, yeah, there was something silly that, like, when it struck me, I was just like, oh, God,
the water,
yes,
the electrified floor. Yes, I remember that now.
There, Anyway, so other than that, I enjoyed it. The writing could have been better.
Yes, it could have been, but
it felt like it had. It felt like it had maybe a bit more polish that could be put on it in terms of like the way the story was done. It was almost like, oh, we're on here, this island, and oh, this all suddenly happens, and oh, this guy's actually doing this, and I don't know. It felt maybe too much. It felt too weird, too unreal, if you know what I mean.
So you didn't like the supernatural stuff towards the end, then?
Maybe if it had been done in a different manner. I don't know. It felt
a bit more subtle. It was a bit as subtle as a brick to the face.
Too Hollywood. That's what it was.
It was too Hollywood.
Too Hollywood. That was the problem with it. But other than that, I would still recommend it. It's still probably the best game I've played all year. But that's because I've only... Well, we'll get onto this in a minute. But I've not played as much of a couple of other games. So
Tomb Raider, first or Skyrim?
How much Tomb Raider? Like the full game, do you mean? Or...
Well, how do we usually do it? Is it the whole game up against the first hour of Skyrim?
I think that's how it should be.
Oh, okay, then the whole game.
No, I think the first hour of Skyrim.
Oh, goodness sake.
The first hour of Skyrim is badass.
That's a high bar you're setting then, if the whole of Tomb Raider can't compare to it.
Well, put it this way. The first hour of Skyrim, you can do so much, and you can have so much fun with the character creation.
And then you can go do it again, and again, and
you
again.
Can just do it again.
Shall I pick something from my list that you haven't been playing?
Yeah.
Let's see. I have been playing Injustice, Gods Among Us.
Oh, yeah.
I did my playthrough of the story mode, which was short and sweet. It was pretty much the DC Universe version of the Avengers. Just all your favourite heroes and villains all kicking the shit out of each other for no real reason.
Just because that's what they do. That's what
I enjoyed the batshit crazy story more than I thought I would. They put effort into what cutscenes there were. They've gone the kind of extra characters via DLC route, but everybody does these days.
That's become standard. That's like when we used to complain about people having adverts on YouTube, and now everybody does. It's just like you've just got to accept it. Before you know it, you'll grow to accept paying for like DLC weapons that you kind of need to get through a game or something. Or maybe you'll get feet as DLC. Your characters will just be like on points.
For the people who play FPSs and the first thing they do is look down to see if they can see their feet or not, they have to buy the DLC if they want to see their feet.
DLC feet.
Yeah, it would work. They would do it.
This head and torso floating about, no legs.
So it's a very different style beat 'em up to Storm. It's slow, but you need to put more thought into what you're doing. It's a far deeper fighting game.
That's the thing that I pointed out when I started watching the videos, was it just coming back from Storm, and Warframe is very fast-paced. I mean, Warframe is ridiculously fast-paced. You go back to play anything and you feel like you're just like chugging along an old 56k modem, but it does definitely seem like a lot slower, even by standard beat-em-up standards.
It's always been that way with the Mortal Kombat games. Very small movements, very slow, but very thoughtful movement.
It's slightly more tactical and precise and less button bashing.
Yeah, you definitely have to learn. I kind of got through the story mode. It got hard towards the end. I lost a couple of fights there. Basically just using one combo from Street Fighter 2 that I memorized for Ryu and Ken, which is like you jump in with a high kick, then low, medium, high, low.
Yeah.
Something like that. Something that's kind of, it's not even, I can't articulate it, but it's muscle memory. I remember doing it on the SNES controller, so any beat 'em up I play now. In fact, even if you go back and watch I did a few videos of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I used Ryu in that. I did the same combo in that.
You've been playing the exact same combo.
I've been doing the same
for the last,
combo since the 90s.
Years. Yeah, you've been...
But it just shows that it's the basic concept of just, mixing highs and lows and soft attacks with heavy ones. It works. Although some of the characters had different combo sets, so generally the fights I struggled with were when they didn't follow that archetype.
Where you couldn't just fall back on your...
I couldn't fall back on my muscle memory combo that saw me through most things. But yeah, I still enjoyed it. I'm not sure I'd have paid full price, but that's because I'm not a fighting game junkie. It's very for the competitive side.
They're definitely not my thing. I mean, the odd one here and there. I mean, I didn't mind Naruto so much because it let me catch up on story that...
plus it's very simplistic by comparison.
And it's a bit over the top and it's a bit fun and stuff, but... no, I probably won't be buying another one until maybe the next Naruto one to catch up on the story again.
But if you're into your fighting games, your Mortal Kombats in particular, I would say get it, especially if you're a fan of Superman, Batman, all that jazz. Apparently, Mortal Kombat.
Which superhero is all that jazz?
Steam. All that jazz.
Never heard of him.
Cyborg. You won't get that joke. Doesn't matter. So you pick something on your list now.
I finally finished Space Marine.
Spice Marine?
I know. And we talked about Space Marine in, I'm sure, the first podcast. If not, the second one was called So Space Marine or something.
But yeah, I can't remember if we started it from the first one. So, you thought you were quite near the end, and as it turns out, you weren't even halfway.
I was probably approaching the halfway mark. And do you
got through it.
Do you know what? I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I went back and finished it, because I did thoroughly enjoy it, other than a few minor niggles. It's probably
the ones that put us off in the demo, pretty much.
Probably, probably not worth going into much depth on those.
We did a long time ago.
It's a very old game. Well,
you're just bringing it up because at least you finally did it.
Yeah, and I'm pleased about.
It only took about half a year.
More than that.
I mean, it's been out longer than that, but I mean from the point at which we bought it.
Yeah, maybe about a year. I still have Assassin's Creed 3 to finish. I can't bring myself to play it. I can't.
It just goes a lot to say about how boring it is.
And that's coming from somebody that has played every other Assassin's Creed game.
And enjoyed them.
Yes.
Mm. Well, I have been playing Fire Emblem Awakening on my 3DS. Right. A game I unfortunately can't follow my rule of forcing myself to play in 3D even though it gives me headaches, because I play it for so long I would go blind. Plus the battery would run dry. It's a very addictive game, very well made as well. Compelling characters. You give a shit if they die. Have noticed it.
I don't believe you. Don't believe you. You don't give a shit when a character dies. You've got no heart, no soul, no moral compass.
I realised not far in that it was absolutely pointless me putting permadeath on, because any time a character I had invested a lot of time in died, I immediately reset and tried to fight again. So it's a pretty pointless concept overall. But yeah, I thoroughly recommend it to anybody with a 3DS. It's very much in the vein of Vandal Hearts or Final Fantasy Tactics, but with a cutesy anime twist. Of time-travelling storyline.
All 6 people that bought a 3DS.
Yeah, all 6 of them. I recommend it. And there's a marriage system in the game. You can pair off people to 12-year-old girls if you wanted.
You're not right.
What's even worse, you can also meet their children.
The children of a 12-year-old parent?
Well, because there's a time-travelling twist to it, so you can meet the children of people you pair up, and who you pair up alters the children you meet.
It sounds kind of cool, kind of crazy.
It is. It's very good. And I almost forgot that we didn't have feet, and now I reminded myself it's going to bug me. I'm going to have to keep away from the game for a little while.
The thought of buying a 3DS, just no.
I have already, I haven't finished the story yet. I'm not sure. I think I'm nearing the end. I'm on chapter 19 or 20. I've put in about 40 hours already. Ooh. It's just because I'm compelled to get all the side quests by pairing people up, and to pair people up, they have to get build a relationship by fighting alongside each other in battle.
It just sounds like you're playing a game where you go around introducing people to go and get married and have kids.
Yeah, but it's SimCity with swords. I know.
That's like the caption at the back of the game. Lightning Flick says, "It's SimCity with swords."
That is a highly inaccurate description. Please do not quote me on that. It's far better than that might imply. So if you do have a 3DS, I do recommend it. And that's all I have to say on it. No. So you may pick a new game.
BioShock Infinite.
Nope.
I got it. I started it. I haven't had any time to get any further because of something else.
So you've been playing it for like 20 minutes so far?
I've probably played, you're probably about right, 15, 20 minutes.
Not really far enough to have a concrete...
No. I mean, like, it definitely sounds like the quality of the music so far is vastly improved on the average experience. The lighting's quite good too. I don't know if it's because I maybe got the gamma and everything just right for the screen.
No, it is. It's a very, very nice looking game.
The lighting in particular is something that I noticed is quite nice. The next game we're going to discuss as well, I've noticed the lighting seems to have improved on as well.
Dead Island Riptide?
Yep. I know it's
Dead Island Riptide.
So Dead Island Riptide. I know it's such a weird thing to pick out, having only played it for, I don't know.
I thought the graphics were pretty much identical.
It feels like maybe the graphics were good for the original, and it's
just been a bit too long to remember it clearly.
Do you know what it is? It's because I've been playing like a Space Marine, older game, Warframe, a freemium game. I've been playing things maybe that aren't that current, that I'm so used to, like, kind of crappier graphics.
I mean, it's not that Dead Island was bad graphics. It did have good vistas, overlooking the beaches and whatnot. It's just the graphics, when you get into the nitty-gritty, aren't amazing. Also, we haven't had it yet in our co-op playthrough thus far, but I have played myself quite a bit, and there is horrible slowdown when you're in the new boat vehicle.
Oh. Dynamic lighting is... Dynamic weather is somewhat wanting.
Dynamic entry. Oh yeah, and the random 1 minute it's a lovely sunny day. Next step, rain. Rainstorm, thunder, everything.
It doesn't even transition. It just goes...
there's absolutely no transition. It's like Minecraft. It was sunny, now rain. Which, it's not a full sequel. I think it was actually a reduced cost elsewhere, but in the UK it was full price. So I would recommend it only co-op.
Oh, yes, yeah. There's no way that I could probably...
And don't be expecting a hugely different game. They've added some new mechanics, but nothing game-changing.
I think the reason why... I mean, it's getting pretty ripped to shreds from reviews and stuff, isn't it? It's the reason why that we still enjoy it, I think, is because we're playing co-op, and we kind of we make our own fun, as the Resident Evil 6 playthrough kind of proved. But
give the game more credit than Resident Evil 6.
It's a better game than Resident Evil 6, that's for sure. But
sending zombie bodies flailing and flying into the distance is never old. It is always funny when it happens.
It has so many of those good things that appeal to people like us. So that co-op element, that's good. Zombies, fair enough. It's got zombies, that MMO, that like one slightly better gun sort of syndrome.
Good melee combat. The combat's handled well.
Yeah, it is, and
it's visceral.
Yes, it is. It's good. I mean, the plot could maybe do with a bit of changing going forwards rather than just having
There's
another.
No Jin this time, but there is Jin 2, Jin Harder.
Jin the Revengeance. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm glad I bought it. I had considered not picking it up purely on the basis that it looked like, an
expansion,
Dead Island 1.5 rather than a brand new game, and it more or less is. But I forgot just how much fun I had with the first one.
Enough time had passed.
Yes, and I mean, testament to that is the playthrough. I mean,
yes, we're going to be doing a playthrough. We've recorded a little bit, but as of when we're recording this, none of it is uploaded yet because I didn't have time. I do have the first couple of parts rendered, and even watching them back, still quite funny.
It's fun. It's good. And as the playthrough continues, if you are starting to watch it now that it's probably up by the time this is up.
Yeah, at least one part will be up by the time this is up.
As things progress, even if you find that you're not enjoying so much the story of the game and stuff, the banter that goes on throughout this, because remember, we're spending a lot of time together. Stuck in this.
Be very careful how you word this.
Stuck in this world together. Some shit does get a little bit crazy. I mean,
yeah, it already did in what we've recorded so far because it was very late at night and we were all very tired. It went a bit sideways towards the end, so we did get to the point where I said, right, we're stopping now because this is going too far.
Car mechanics.
The car mechanics were driving us far more insane than they should have been.
I don't mean people that work on cars.
Oh, no. I'm sure they're all fine gentlemen. Apart from Jin. She was not a fine gentleman. No. She was a car mechanic, though. She was. Her father was the mechanic, remember?
Yes, right. That's why she had those dungarees, the overalls.
Yeah, I thought it was because she was 5. Anyway, there's one more game on my list.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I started playing it the other night there because I was waiting for you to arrive. Hitman Absolution that I got in the Steam sale for pennies.
Now, you bought that in the last year, didn't you?
I bought it in the Christmas sale, so it was last year. Yeah, it was ages ago. I was putting off playing it until I finished Sleeping Dogs, but for some reason I just don't find Sleeping Dogs getting me to go back to it as much as I would like.
It's weird because you were raving about that.
It is a good game. I think it's just those kind of GTA type games. I find if I spend too long a period away from them,
burn yourself
I lose interest.
Oh.
It's weird. It always happens with that kind of game, an open world game where there's like Saints Row, Grand Theft Auto, anything like that. If I accidentally don't play it for a while, I don't feel the urge to go back.
I struggle with a lot of game types with that, actually, where if I don't stay
like
with
Space Marine?
If I don't stay... I think it might be that genre, in fact. It might be that sort of single player, sort of story mode sort of driven thing that I might struggle with. I think part of that is because I have to play on my own, and then we've got co-op games that run along the side with that, and because I have a job and some other responsibilities, etc. When I do have free time, it's like, right, okay, we're going to play Dead Island, or we're going to play Warframe, we're going to play something co-op. So the single player stuff gets put to the side, and that's why things like Space Marine and Tomb Raider and Assassin's Creed all get shuffled, to the back of the back of the list. But
so what I know I decided that Hitman would like it or hate it. It would definitely be reasonably short, especially compared to an open world game like Sleeping Dogs. So I thought, why not? Just start it. And so far, I am thoroughly enjoying it. I regret not playing it sooner. It's very much like Blood Money, which I personally think is the best Hitman game.
I think I've got that.
You've got it. You started it and never went back to it. Oh, crap. We just added to your list a game that's like a year and a half old. Is it even still on your Steam account?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I remember you. I think you tried the first stage.
I've done the first stage.
Winery, rather.
I did the first stage.
Okay.
I pushed the guy off the balcony.
Oh yes, yeah. So this one is pretty much the same, just with much better graphics. I love how much detail they put into the environment you're in. They do a lot of detail.
I thought that they weren't going to give you as many options for environmental deaths. Let's call it.
There is still environmental deaths, but case in point, the second level after you're out of the tutorial, I found my way to a sniper rifle, sniped my target, and ran out. So not a terribly great score, because by the Hitman standard, you are aiming to do kills by accidents.
Yeah.
So after that, rather than going to the next stage, I immediately chose to redo the stage, and I decided just to walk around and have a little look at the kind of things the target does, and I discovered he could have an accident by falling down a big hole that would be fatal. He stands over something, you can shoot or rig to drop on him. You can accidentally poison some Hurty tests at one of the stalls.
So it does still have the same...
You can poison his drugs in 2 different locations. So anything that said there was not variety was lying.
They were wrong.
There's plenty of variety. It encourages you to retry. I didn't feel bad about having to retry. I wanted to. And as I say, I love how much detail they put into the weird, wacky environment you end up in, like a block of flats that some hippies have turned into a pop palace or a stripper club, and there's cameos from Kane and Lynch for some reason.
Okay.
But all this comes with a big asterisk saying that I have yet to reach the point at which the latex nuns from the awful trailers have appeared. I am at the point where they will, because the last cutscene of the stage I did before stopping was bring in the saints or whatever.
Oh dear.
And that's the latex nuns. So yeah, although I regret not playing it sooner, the only reason I didn't is because of the publishers. Because of that awful latex nun trailer, because of the crappy Facebook game insulting the size of your friend's boobs, etc. They did a horrible job marketing it.
It's amazing how bad marketing can severely impact. And you can say, this is going to work out to be a really big PR shitstorm, and a game will still do fairly well. But you think about the number of people that probably thought the same as you and didn't go out and buy it on day one because they thought, actually I don't like this.
It's a big mistake, and they paid for it. So
As long as the lesson is learned. As long as the lesson is learned.
And I have briefly tried the contract mode. That's where people make their own stage. And I'm considering doing kind of like challenge runs of that. Just pick a stage someone's made it random. Probably not record my first effort because you really have to learn how everything is laid out and what the conditions. So I tested one where it was one of the smaller stages that I've done already. And the proviso they put in was you had to kill 2 people with a sniper. And that only them. While never changing your disguise, for instance. So you put in, you make it challenging.
Right, okay.
So I think there's a lot of longevity there. And it's interesting. You can compete, and it's, you know, a particular map might have upvotes and downvotes, so you know which ones are balanced.
Sounds like it could be interesting.
I'm considering it. I'm considering doing that because they wouldn't be very long either. So it's something quick to do when no one's around for co-op stuff.
All those hard hours I put in at work.
So we will see next podcast whether my opinion changes after the inclusion of the tasteless latex nuns.
Hot.
So, shall we move on to miscellaneous news?
Yeah, let's move on to a bit of miscellaneous stuff, the random bits and pieces.
Do you want to pick one, or shall I?
I'll go first. Sticking with the trend of the last few podcasts, I'm going to duck the most obvious piece of miscellaneous news, just for something random. Nintendo. Somehow I manage always to find something ridiculous that Nintendo have managed to do that doesn't seem to make any sort of big headlines because, well, nobody's buying the consoles anyway. So
somewhere, probably stacking a shelf, and Rory has started rolling his eyes.
You can probably put this to the test because you have a 3DS. The only handheld that can access the web version of Nintendo's Weverse is the PSP.
What?
None of the Nintendo handhelds can access the web version of Nintendo's Weverse.
While we carry on talking, I shall put this to the test.
See if you can get onto the web version of it. So that's like the browser-based version.
Use the browser and type in Miiverse.
Nintendo's Weverse. I think it's called Weverse.
Or is it Weverse?
I think it's Weverse.
I first have to discover where the browser is.
So you'd think that's a pretty big thing to miss out.
So I've got Google. I've got my bookmarks. I can write it into Google then, can I? So you're definitely sure it's Weverse.
I think it's Weverse, like WII. You know how they love doing
verse and search. So here we go. It's searching. Okay, and we have Google results. I don't know how to steer this damn thing. There we go. I'm finding results for. It does suggest that Miiverse is the correct one.
Right, okay, maybe it is me. I
don't see any official Nintendo links, and that is worrying.
Oh dear.
Oh, there we go. Right, yeah, Miiverse Nintendo. Pressing on it. Come on, pressing on it. Come on. Right, here we go. It's trying to load. It's struggling. Browser error. The internet browser you're using cannot be used to access Miiverse. What?
Exactly.
I'm on a 3DS.
It's insane. You're actually on a Nintendo product, on a Nintendo console. Cannot access that. And I've sent you a link via Skype. You punch that into your computer. It will just pop up. And that's a PC.
Let me test that. Yep, that works in Firefox. Fine.
Yep. And apparently, I'm not going to.
If my PSP was charged, but it isn't, so I can't test. But obviously, ignore that music from Fire Emblem.
So yeah, that's a bit.
It's hilarious.
I mean, it's probably not a big thing, but it's just like such an obvious thing. Like that you would probably.
I'm curious why it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't have Flash on it or something.
Maybe they don't have whatever it is that you need in order to some sort of. Yeah, maybe Flash or some sort of.
In keeping
software.
With Nintendo, they've also officially announced they're not doing a main show at E3 this year. Another nail in the coffin of that poor event. They're just going to do smaller shows because apparently those live shows they do now, the Nintendo Direct, they think, wrongly, might I add, that they are a huge success. So they're just going to do very tightly picked shows for that kind of thing.
How much?
That's the equivalent of telling a room full of people who think you're great that you're great. It doesn't matter because they already think you're great. You want to tell people who don't know you're great that you're great.
How much do you want to bet that lasts till next E3 and then they go, right, okay, we're going to go back and do E3 again?
I kind of hope they aren't around by next E3, but, you know.
You could go.
Iwata has admitted that Wii U sales are far below expectations. And most people don't even know it exists, which is funny.
You know what? They're not far below my expectations. Whose expectations are we talking about here? I mean,
the companies.
Their
the company
expectations
that is in massive debt.
My expectations? No. Why would I want to buy last generation's console? That's exactly that's the argument.
Especially with the next gen on the horizon.
And speaking of,
the next Xbox, not being shown at E3, being shown in the end of bloody May.
21st of May, apparently.
Oh, I thought it was 31st. Okay.
I have written down 21st of May. I could be wrong. I did write down Weverse instead of Meverse.
Well, that's true.
I have been known to put fish in my ears.
Well, either way, it's the end of May. Don't particularly care if it's always on, because I won't be buying it.
Is it going to be called 720?
Someone said it's going to be called Xbox Infinity, but I don't think that was a legitimate source. I think that was someone's guess.
I'm going to guess it's called the Xbox Jellyfish.
As I say, I don't really give a shit what it's called. If it's always on and the PS4 is not, I will be going exclusively to PS4 and PC.
What if both are?
If both are always on, that would be tough. I would just stick with the PC unless something I desperately wanted came out for one of them, and then I would get that one.
But I don't know. The always on thing's not that big a deal. No,
they have to learn that they can't force us.
But
and they will learn, or they will go out of business.
Not everybody's going to go down the route of actually sticking to their guns.
No, obviously not, but enough should that they will listen.
Fingers crossed.
Or maybe enough time has happened between that oath thing, the guy from last podcast, and this show at the end of May that they've radically changed their minds about the whole thing.
Maybe it's just elements of the certain games or something. I don't know. We'll find out.
If you need to always be on to stream a movie, fine. If for a game with online capacity, that might be okay. But if the game has a single player mode, I want to be able to play it without having an internet connection, because sometimes I do that.
That's true. I mean, without needing to use the internet, you should be able to access single player games.
Yep. So if it does that, then that's fine.
Valve learned.
Okay with that.
Steam,
that's like a middle ground that I'm okay with.
Valve learned that lesson a very long time ago.
You'd think everyone else would learn from their example, but
Should we move away from all this hate mongering? There's been a lot of hate mongering.
Yeah. Well, I do have EA stuff on here, but something moderate. Middle of the ground, not quite angry, not quite good.
Not quite good?
Yeah, not quite good. There's no more official Skyrim expansions coming, just patches as and when needed. So they did a whole 3, technically, counting the shitty house one, and they were all pretty bad.
To be fair, they didn't really need any expansions. Not really.
No, and they seem to know that and didn't put the effort in as a result.
There was enough of the game that was in the game that you bought that it's fine.
I was fine with what came in the box. That's why I haven't bought any of the DLC for it. I can just mod in whatever I wanted added.
Yeah, I didn't bother either. I don't mod anything anyway.
Nope. You run vanilla. Whereas your brother's just started playing it and he's going around as a ninja like me.
You're all nuts.
Yep. Well, that's just... I find it odd they only did... No, we're calling it 2 because that
the house
DLC shit was nothing. That was Horse Armor 2.0. Why add a DLC for what millions of people do for free, modding wise? Well, I guess for the console people, but no one cares about them. They bought the wrong thing.
That's true. I know that I haven't modded mine, right? But I reserve the right to do so.
Oh, so it's your version of Always On then?
Well, yeah. The point is that if there was something that was unbelievably painful that needed to be patched out.
Well, you say that, but you haven't got the inventory mod yet, have you?
No, because I just grew accustomed to it. Because I just wanted to play the game rather than spend time finding about fixing things. So I just kind of got used to it. So after a while, you don't even notice it. I know it's not the most well-designed system.
Yeah.
But you do just eventually just get used to it. It's like muscle memory. You just don't think about it. You just do. Don't think, just do.
Don't think, just do. So before we go on to emails, I have some 5-word reviews. No, not reviews. God damn it, descriptions. I haven't changed the word in my notes, so it's the same as last time.
Oh God!
I will change it now. Descriptions. There we go. So shall I just get on with it?
Yeah, go for it.
Little girls like collecting Adam.
BioShock.
Correct.
One. Yeah.
1 or 2, technically.
Yeah. Right.
But I was thinking of 1.
Yeah.
Next one. To win fight, punch boulder.
Resident Evil 5.
Correct. And I only thought up 3. So the next one, wanted man dabbles in origami.
Heavy Rain.
Yes, I thought that one was quite clever.
I still have my piece of origami from that as well.
Ooh.
I don't know if that came in every box or if it was my limited edition or something.
I'm not sure.
That.
I can't remember. Well, either way, that was mine, and I'm hoping some of the people who emailed in also added some more.
I kind of feel I want to go back and play Heavy Rain again now. I only played it through once.
I played it through twice, but only because I recorded my second go.
Oh, that's right.
Well, it's because I kind of had a perfect run on my first try, so usually I wouldn't bother, because otherwise it's all downhill from there.
True. Shall we move on to the emails?
Yes, we should.
Okay, so first email is from Michael Millward. I'm
Not
guessing
anyone I recognise.
No, somebody new. I don't think we've had an email from Michael before. So, okay,
hello.
Thanks for joining us. You'll regret it. Okay, so good hello, Sir Blighty and Sir Flick of the braingohurty podcast. I've got a quick and simple Naruto question for both of you. Question. If you both were in the Naruto universe, what clan would you like to belong to? Example, the Uchiha clan. Thanks for reading.
As if you're going to know all the other clans. Am I right? You only know the Uchiha one? What about their eternal rivals? Come on, you must know that one. Come on. Come on.
It gives it an S.
Yes, it does. Naruto's a descendant of them.
Saratobi.
No, Senju.
No, Senju. Why am I thinking Saratobi? Right,
because Saratobi is also... They have the Senju bloodline, I believe.
Right, okay. So that means I know 3. Well, actually, I know...
Oh, yeah, actually, the Saratobi clan is a clan.
So I only know 2 because I didn't get Senju right.
Well, you could also say the clan... Shikimara's clan. So they're like the Shadow Jutsu clan.
Yeah,
or
I know
Kiba's,
of the clans, just not of the names.
Okay. Well, technically, if you just wanted to cheat your way to a victory, just pick Uchiha, because then you get Sharingans, and they're pretty much instant win.
Hacks.
They are hacks. Do you have a favourite?
I don't know if I do. I think as the series, like I've never read the manga for it or anything. I've just watched the anime and played a couple of the games. But I think depending on like what's going on and what you see of them, I like one and then another and then back to a different one and so on. I suppose Kiba's quite fun. Like his clan.
He rides a dog like it's a pony.
Yeah, riding a dog. Who wouldn't want... No, wait.
That's the only problem I have with that clan. I like dogs, but I don't like them enough to ride them like a pony.
You don't like them that much.
I don't like them that much.
I mean, like getting to piss on your enemies. I mean, how cool is that?
Jump, so I can't
around, pee on everybody.
I can't remember what his clan name is. The Inu something. It has dog in it. That's why I know it's Inu something. Doesn't matter, but that's who you'd pick.
Inuzuka.
Something like
Inuzuka. Inuzuka.
Inuzuka, that is it. Yes, that is it. I remember hearing it now.
Thank you, Google.
I'm not sure I have a favourite. I guess I would pick the Senju because I'd be on the good guy side rather than the bad guy side.
Boo.
I don't want the Shay evil gene bullshit.
Evil genes.
Yeah, the Uchiha have the evil gene according to the second Hokage.
Don't put them on your legs.
Worst plot twist ever.
So
that was short but sweet.
So thank you
very
much.
Let us know who you'd prefer.
Yeah, if anybody has a preference and
anybody, your favourite great clan or just small regular clan from Naruto.
So thank you, Michael, for sending in an email and joining us. It's fun.
Don't touch the wallpaper.
Don't touch the wallpaper.
That's the advice I give to everybody.
Should we move on to the next email?
We should, yes.
We have an email from... I'm just going to go with the good Rory from now.
Okay.
So, the good Rory.
Good.
Hello. And
hello.
Another email from the good Rory. So he knows he's the good Rory now.
He knows. He's our favourite.
We like him.
Not the other one. No.
I couldn't really think of any gaming or anime questions this time, so I'll skip to the random part of the email. Who would win and why?
Oh, okay.
An alien clone of Blighty, which would have alien powers, or 3 steam-powered gorillas from the 9th dimension? Good Rory, what have you been smoking?
Why is it an alien clone? But just because he's an alien doesn't mean he would magically have powers.
But a normal clone of me definitely wouldn't have magic powers either, and it would just be me.
Oh, right. So I suppose you're giving the chance of having a power because the aliens might have, like super technology. I mean, Superman's an alien, and he's invincible practically. So a clone of you or 3 steam-powered what?
Gorillas from the 9th dimension. I'm not familiar with the 9th dimension.
I've never been there. I'm not sure if that's significant at all. They could be like the equivalent of the disabled people of that dimension.
Or it could
if you're
be
steam-powered.
The 9th dimension is where everything's really tiny. So they're all like the size of my thumbnail.
I'm going to go with the alien clone version of you because I would need to study the steam-powered gorillas of the 9th dimension to be able to accurately decide.
Plus, if they're powered by steam, I mean, steam.
I know that's down for maintenance all the time. So
exactly, it's like steam. We refer to when something's like having an issue as having a steam. So it'd be if Skype is like failing on it, is Skype's having a steam, or the laptop's having a steam, or
So those gorillas are 100% of the time having a steam, which pretty much even a normal clone of you would win. So it doesn't even need to be
a normal clone. So you're saying I would win?
No, you're not a normal clone of yourself.
But sad face.
Yeah, you don't get to be a clone of yourself.
I'm going to make one. Okay.
Hang on. Just to expand on his question slightly. If cloning existed, would you do it? Because you would still technically die, but then a new version of you with your old memories prior to death would exist.
No, I would have the clone of me butchered and put into the freezer, and then I would use the body parts when things of me ran out.
Ah, that's the cunning way out.
So if I wanted like new eyes, well, I would get exactly the same ones. Or if I wanted, a new penis, then
Or if you just wanted another one attached for fun.
It's like trading in old for new, except for it's in your freezer with the chicken. Maybe not my freezer. Maybe like a proper, scientist freezer, like a
scientist freezer,
like where they keep Walt Disney's head, Scientist freezer.
Does it say that on it with a trademark afterwards? Scientist freezer, registered trademark.
Scientist with the S the wrong way round. It's probably made by Acme.
Acme?
They made all the stuff that Wile E. Coyote used to try.
Oh, yeah. Why did he keep on going back to them?
He was just a loyal customer. I mean, just some people are just that loyal. I mean, look at all the people that still buy Nintendo products.
Oh, snap.
Oh. Zing.
For the second time, the bad Rory has rolled his eyes.
They're going to roll into the back of his skull by the time I'm done. On to the rest.
Wait, that sounds wrong. Never mind.
You are a dirty bugger this evening.
Sorry.
Now, as for the 5-word gaming things.
Oh, yes. Good.
Most of the ones I sent last time, you didn't get the BlazBlue one, and you almost got the Ninja Gaiden one, but you... Gaiden. But you forgot that Ryu's sword is called the Dragon Sword.
I didn't know. I only played the very first one, and I don't really remember it that well.
I only played the very, very first ones, and I mean like the old side-scrolling ones.
On the Sega. Blah, blah.
I had the last one I played was on the Game Gear.
Oh, all right, yeah.
No, wait, maybe I'm thinking. I'm mixing it with Shinobi. Yes, yeah. That's what I'm doing. Move along. Nothing. You could also move along.
Remember Ryu was in the Dead or Alive games as well. Ryu Habushi.
Yes, move along. Move along. It's fine. Strawberry runs and kills things.
Strawberry.
I've no idea. Strawberry, is it something where you're...
It's not Bleach, is it? Because Ichigo means strawberry.
That could be it.
But runs and kills things? He does spend a lot of time running.
Is there a Bleach game where you run around a lot?
There's tons of Bleach games.
So...
Like the Dynasty Warrior ripoff.
Maybe that's what he's doing. He's being...
So, alright, we'll say Bleach Soul Resurrection then. I can't think of a game where you literally play as a strawberry.
No, neither can I. One box, lots of oranges. I haven't got a clue.
One box, lots of oranges.
The only thing that keeps popping into my head is the orange box, the Steam box, but it can't be talking about that because that's not a game. It's a collection of games.
Well, if you are, you're disqualified. Good Rory. One box, lots of oranges. I can't remember if you collected oranges in those Ape Escape games.
Those were one of the first ones to use the dual analog sticks, wasn't it?
As a random aside, I have no idea.
I think it was.
One box, many oranges. I'm going to have to say, yeah, I'll go with that, but I don't think it's right.
Shoe guns for the win.
Shoe guns. Okay, who has... Oh, Bayonetta.
Shoe guns. It would be like shoe-guns. Shoe guns for the win. Yeah, it will be Bayonetta.
Either that or Shogun.
Shogun
for the win.
It's written the way like shameful display.
Yeah.
You'll get this one. Justice gone mad after bomb.
Yeah,
even I'll get
Injustice.
This one.
That is Injustice.
Only
Superman
because I
mental.
watched the first cutscene on your video. Magic Time Pen on DS.
Magic Time Pen?
Magic Time Pen on DS. Do you play Block? Or is there a Magic Time Pen on DS?
It's not Scribble. No, I don't think it's Scribble Knots because that's not a time pen.
The only DS
stuff.
The only DS games I ever played were the Mario Kart one on the DS, not 3DS, and the Trauma Center under the knife.
Magic Time Pen. It's not like Doctor Who or something like that. I don't know. Nope, I'm afraid I'm going to have to pass on that one. It might come to me later because something's like scratching at the back of my head.
Till it's raw and bloody. The last one, Scorpion vs. Bat Cool Fight.
That's not going to be Injustice again, is it?
Is there somebody in there that's Scorpion related?
Scorpion is being added as DLC, from what I hear. But that it's only been recently announced. I think we've had that email for longer than that.
Maybe.
Bat v Scorpion.
Yeah, Scorpion vs. Bat. Cool fight.
Oh, maybe it is Injustice, because I did one of Bane versus Batman. Maybe Bane is associated with the Scorpion somehow that I'm unfamiliar with.
I don't know. They're starting to get harder.
These are getting hard. The last set was easy.
I don't know. It's
going to bug me, but I'm going to have to say I'm not sure on that one.
Oh.
Or that's my politically correct way of saying I don't know. I'm kind of dodging it.
Politician's answer,
yeah. I'm unsure at this point. Ask again later.
Magic 8-ball answer. So that's the end.
You stumped us there. Send us the answers.
Yeah, most of them usually come in via some sort of email at the next.
Or tell us on Facebook as well. That's fine too.
So thank you, good Rory.
Bad Rory?
Bad Rory sent us an email as well. And it's a long one.
Oh, it's always a long one, even though I keep on telling him we don't have time for wall text.
When I first looked, because I had a brief look at, I haven't actually read the full email, but when I checked to see, obviously I get an email, I wonder what that is. I read the first paragraph, which is just the introduction bit. And I kind of forgot that in the last podcast I incited people to send in all sorts of insulting things. I just...
Oh, yeah, you wanted to be insulted. You wanted to hit me more.
I set out a challenge. So the first thing, I was like, oh, well, that's a bit harsh, but then realised. So...
You asked people to do it.
Hello, Flick, and the prostate-tickling son of a Scottish whoremonger. Technically, that's not quite accurate. I would be the prostate-tickling son of a Scottish whoremonger. No, yeah, I suppose that would work, yeah. That's fine, because technically one of my parents is Scottish. Anyway, moving on. In the last podcast, you asked for insults, so here they are. To avoid confusion, I'll be referring to Flick as such, much to his disappointment, I'm sure. But fear not, I'll be getting back to the devil-handed mutant in the next email. Have you got devil hands?
I did a trade with him so I could play the holophone bear.
They're always touching me in places. Not much to say, but first to the testicle-gargling alcoholic. In the last podcast, you accused me of using Crystal Chronicles twice in my 5-word game list, when it should have been clear that for the first one, Crystal Chronicles was your incorrect guess, And the correct answer was Final Fantasy V. But yeah, okay. Okay.
You're stupid.
Not the other way around. At first, I'd assumed that it was just Flick, but now I can only assume there must be something in the water over there. I suppose I should just be content that you've managed to rub your 2 brain cells together to count high enough to keep the podcasts numbered correctly.
There is something in the water over here. It's usually a deceased hobo.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Yeah, they do weird things to the water when they die face down in it.
Every now and again, my water smells like bleach.
That's not good.
Not including the one time, but 39 is a high number after all. Yes, okay. Did I get that fixed in the end? I can't remember if I fixed the podcast numbers stuff. I don't know.
I don't know if you ever fixed it. Did I mention Bad Rory as a bitch?
Next, for your entertainment, before returning to deflowering sheep, you mentioned in previous podcasts...
That's the Welsh, not the Scottish. Get your stereotypes right.
That's true. The stereotype for Scottish is to be alcoholics and drug abusers.
To smoke a joint with the sheep and then eat its insides.
You mentioned in a previous podcast about a tabloid or some such over there that kept going on about Diana. Daily Mail. Mm. Well, Flick told me to send this. So see the attached photo of the cover of a similar tabloid over here.
Yes, I got him to do this because it's fantastic.
So if this...
Not a joke. This is not a joke. This was a real thing in Canada. So tell the people what you're looking at.
Right, okay. It's just loaded up here. Princess Diana dressed as a man for a secret date with gay rocker Freddie Mercury. What?
This wasn't done years ago when they were both still alive. This was done... Well, I think last month now it was when you told me about it.
Well, the date on this is April 22nd, 2013.
April 20... What, it was just the other day? Oh, no, that'll be the picture date. He saw it and he had... No?
The picture on the stamp on the barcode has got April 22nd, 2013.
Oh, okay, well, I guess it's more recent than I thought.
I don't understand.
You don't understand both the point of the story, the reason it's there now and they're both dead and it doesn't matter, but apparently... I mean, I think Canada does have this kind of hang-up that the Daily Mail has about Diana.
But this looks more like my husband ran off with a cyborg sheep, you know, your women's gossip magazines, rather than like tabloids.
Well, maybe it is one of those, but, you know, how out there is that?
That is pretty crazy. I've seen crazier headlines on some of the ones in shops, though, for like ladies' magazines.
My husband ate his own face and then married me.
Yeah, stuff like that. I
was pregnant with my own husband.
That's quite crazy. I challenge anybody to find anything crazier. Please try.
Crazier than is this Diana cross-dressing on a date with Freddie Mercury to date someone else or whatever you just
said. The only thing I can think on the top of my head that's crazier is that picture that I showed you the other day that you recognised, which was also worrying. Of the two guys in the mankinis.
Yeah.
That sounds really wrong. Taken out of context, that sounds wrong that I'm sending him pictures of Japanese guys in mankinis. But
you did.
But
that
I did.
Is exactly what you did. That's exactly not taken out of context at all. That is exactly what you did. And your brother. You both forced it upon me. Moving swiftly on.
Lastly, just before I feel obligated to offer a question, what do you two consider to be acceptable DLC? I know you two go on and on about some being bad because it should have been part of the initial game instead of being held back. But what determines that? Ignoring hackers revealing it being locked content on the disc, is it just the fact that it's released so soon after the game becomes available? Yes. Or is there some other quality to it that marks it as unacceptable? I don't often get DLC, so not a huge deal to me, but a question is a question and my obligation has been met.
But it is both. When it appears like it's something that's been held back, it's like the best example is, I think I've spoken about this before, someone did a picture of the Mona Lisa and said this is a game release in 1990. Then they did, this is the Mona Lisa in 2010, or whatever year it was that the picture was made, and it was missing the top corner, and then it was showing the top corner, and it was an expansion pack. And then they did, this is 2012, and it was in broken bits. And that's pretty much what happens.
That's a good example. I mean, like, going back to the first part of the question, acceptable DLC, I would say...
Costumes, new characters, I would think is okay.
I don't know. It depends on how you want to go about it. There's two types of acceptable DLC. One is entirely optional, usually cosmetic, doesn't really have much of an impact.
Shit, like hats in Team Fortress. Who cares if you buy them or not?
Exactly.
No one matters. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make you better at the game.
Now, some of the guns and stuff that you can pick up can change the game, so that's a bad part of the...
Well, the hats I said specifically, not the guns.
Hats is okay, guns is not. But also, I think...
you can craft the guns, for the record.
True. The content of certain DLC as well is important. Like, Skyrim let's also has good DLC and bad DLC. The good DLC.
I was going to say, to turn the question slightly, what was the last good bit of DLC you played and the last worst bit of DLC you played? Would the best be not Big Game Hunt, but what about Torg's campaign on Borderlands 2? That was quite enjoyable.
Yeah, and I don't think there was so much, like, there was tons of content for that. I would say, that was probably the last good bit of DLC.
I would say the Virgil campaign for DMC was just okay. It wasn't amazing. I'm trying to think of like the last bad bit of DLC I played, like that I really didn't like. But I try and avoid lots of DLC. Yeah, I try and actively avoid it so that they stop doing it.
Generally speaking, I kind of avoid paying for DLC as well. It's more like where it's such a small amount of content, and you think, hang on a minute, like there's no way that this was like sitting on the editing room floor and they cobbled it together or whatever. It's just like put some real effort and some time in. You know, Skyrim DLC took a long time for it to come out. Just get past the house DLC for a moment.
Well, the first one was a bit meh, but apparently the Morrowind one was okay.
Exactly. If you've got something that's a decent chunk of content, you know, maybe if you're talking like part of a game with a campaign or something, if you're saying maybe, I don't know, give yourself like 5 hours or something of decent new content, then that's fair enough. My
general hatred of DLC is that it made expansion packs extinct, and I liked expansion packs. They were value for money mostly.
Yeah, because expansion packs is like, right, we've still got the team together, we've still got all the tools, we've still got some ideas that we couldn't quite make it in. Let's build on that. You've got, like, say, Dawn of War franchise is a good one, because Dawn of War did have some pretty good expansion packs.
It had tons of expansions, yeah. It had about 5, I think, in total before it went to Dawn of War 2.
So... And they weren't like tiny little upgrades. It was, there was a good bit of content. There was stuff.
Yeah, it made the very final one changed how it worked totally. It did that like meta game, like with Risk and stuff. Do you remember?
Vaguely. I didn't play so much Dawn of War 1. I kind of fell in just as Dawn of War 2 came out. So
right.
So that's kind of my opinion, I guess. I think it's just because it's becoming more frequent. So the odds of you hitting a bit of bad DLC are more common.
Not that I got it, but do you remember me mentioning last time that SimCity got advertising DLC for free? It was free to download, but it was essentially an advertisement for Nissan and electric cars or whatever. Yeah, there was another one, another set. Because the game's doing so well, they just brought out a 2.0 patch that broke the game even more than how it launched. There's a pack of attractions, like really impressive looking things that bring tourists to your site. The way you get those is you buy certain brands of toothpaste.
What?
To get a code. I'm not going to name the toothpaste brands because they can go to hell.
That's a very horrible direction for things to go in. Buy certain products to get things that you can then put, no, I don't like that.
No, that is terrible. Buy this toothpaste and you can download a game-breaking, easy-to-use item that will give you a higher score. And what's the point, especially in SimCity? Also, they're shutting down their SimCity social, which just proves that this new SimCity is that, but with DLC. But their angle would be, well, this DLC is free. Well, okay, the first set was free. Technically, now you have to buy a tube of toothpaste, but that's not exactly expensive. So they would argue, I'm sure, that you're not investing a lot.
We're encouraging you to good personal hygiene.
Yeah. Also, very, very funny aside, did you know that DLC is a banned word in SimCity? Somebody named their city DLC Land, and they woke up the next day to find that the DLC had been censored by asterisks. That's what they're doing, rather than fixing their broken piece of shit game that people are still able to get refunds on, by the way. So if you've got the game and you desperately hate it as much as most people playing it, even if EA won't do it directly via Origin, just go through your credit company, go through Amazon if you bought it, get a chargeback. Do not let them get away with this shit.
It's quite cool being able to just go, yeah, actually, this is not a good game. This is not worth the money I put into this. I'll take my money back now. I like that idea.
Rock Paper Shotgun did an excellent article on EA's stance and all this, which is basically to say nothing and the power of silence, because people will forget. You can't report on silence more than once.
It's true.
And that's the angle they've taken. Thankfully, they keep on giving people excuses to bring up by adding shit DLC and breaking the game with each patch.
It's a cunning plan.
Swings and roundabouts. Yeah, yeah, I bet it was Peter Moore's plan, and it was going to work, but thankfully it didn't. So far. But, they're still not going to say anything, so it'll work eventually. People will forget.
Shall I finish off the email?
Oh, it's not done yet.
No.
God, oh.
It's fine. We're nearly there.
We will get through this.
Well, that's enough from me. I'll let you get back to blathering about trivialities with occasional gaming-related material mixed in. Hope the question didn't cause you to sacrifice neural process intended for counting. Rory Belmont. The bad Rory.
The bad Rory.
I think, to be fair, I did ask him to be cruel.
Yeah, you did ask for people to be rude to you. So if anyone else would like to be rude to him, feel free.
Yeah, it's cool.
I would rather not. I get enough of that on my YouTube videos. Thank you.
I get a kick out of it.
Okay. I have actually pretty much expended my bits of news, apart from one bit I'll hold on to for next time.
Okay, I've got one.
Okay, go.
The Resident Evil creator is making a new survival horror game with Bethesda involved.
Ooh, I am aware of it, but I haven't looked into it at all, so inform me and the audience.
This is where I realised I didn't actually write down what the title is, but it's called The Enemy Within, I think.
Yes, it is. I knew that much. So what is it? Is there a trailer? Did you watch it?
The trailer that I watched is one of those trailers that you hate. In fact, it's more. Oh. It's much worse than the trailers that you hate, because the trailers you hate are CG.
Yeah. So is
this one's
like
live action. This was like a live action. But at first I thought... wait,
it's not like retro live action. It's not like Resident Evil 1 live action, because that'd be amazing.
Sort of.
Ooh.
It's... I kind of thought maybe I was looking at the wrong trailer. Because I was watching this thing. Sign. It looked like it was more like an advertisement for like some sort of weird horror movie that was coming out. It was kind of freaky. And
so there wasn't any gameplay footage at all? Or?
No, it's all live action. It gives no indication of what the game is like, what it's about, other than the fact that the trailer uses just about every horror niche of the last 20 years. You've got some sort of psychopath that's... it looks like he's putting together something out of barbed wire. There's a weird person with a box on their head, and it explodes with a sort of... looks like a squid explodes out of it. There's a woman with 6 arms that crawls out of a pool of blood, and... there's all sorts of weird things that are in it. There's a woman in it that looks just like was her Samara or whatever from the Ring. There's a lot of these things that sort of jumped out at me, thinking I recognise this, and this.
I don't really like if he's just stealing ideas from more successful things than him now that he's departed from Resident Evil.
The feel that I got from that, which goes nowhere in the direction of understanding what the game's going to be like or to have any hype for it, is that I had a Silent Hill sort of vibe.
The first Silent Hill was very good.
That sort of atmosphere. But remember, this is a trailer, which isn't showing any gameplay, nothing like that at all. It just felt like the way that they developed the trailer was kind of Silent Hill-esque. That way that Resident Evil was a bit more sort of in-your-face horror, where Silent Hill had that slightly more subtle undertones, and then you got sparks of horrible things, which at the time were quite...
But that's why it was so good. It was the subtle psychological horror.
Yeah. And it had some pretty... freakish things in there that kind of went over the limit that Resident Evil did. The first Silent Hill, when it came out, was just top.
I highly recommend it as a survival horror game to anybody.
So
just the first one.
After seeing this, in fact, this is going all the way back around full circle as we
good because we're wrapping up soon.
To the start of the podcast where we were talking about testing games with kids that might not be finding some of the secret rooms. And
are we going to make some kids play Silent Hill? Because that'd be very funny.
That would be very funny. Somebody was commenting about Resident Evil not being particularly scary or jumpy or anything like that, and it got me thinking. Well, how old are you? Are you? 15? Did you maybe play the game more recently as opposed to when it came out? Because at the time, the graphics were amazing at the time. I mean, you look back now and you go, whoa, hang on a minute. I feel like I'm being violated here. But at the time, the graphics were really good. The sounds, the realistic look. You had those live action cutscenes a cutscene at the start. And at the end, yes. These things all, ramped up the I wouldn't say the fear factor of it, but we knew somebody that was terrified of the thing. Remember when the dogs burst through the window?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody that just would not go anywhere near the game at that time. And, we were like, 12 or something?
But it was also more than just those sudden shocks. It was also like the intimidation of running low on ammo, knowing that there's enemies all over the joint.
Definitely survival. Definitely survival.
If you're worrying about where the next bit of ammo is you can get, then it's done something right. Not, here comes an enemy, I have a bazooka. Your argument is irrelevant.
So I started worrying about whether or not people that are doing, like, not so much just reviews, but people that are doing any sort of writing, or, if you go out and buy like a copy of like PC Gamer or something, or most like, glossy magazines, and you open it up and you can see who the writers are, who the staff are, and you can look at it and go, yeah, they're in their 30s or 40s or 50s or 60s, or, they look like
60s. I don't think so.
I don't mean in games. I mean in any magazine.
Okay.
Look like, and you can make a snap judgment based on what they look like as well, on what their sort of attitudes towards things are. Let's go back to the supermarket. There's somebody that works on the checkout there that Vicky pegged as having, certain hobbies and interests and stuff, and we've pretty much nailed every one of them on the head over the...
How do you know that? Did you ask him?
No, because various things that I've bought when I've been in there have caused him to say things, to say things like I bought a game when I've been in.
Oh, right, okay, I see.
And we actually saw him in Games Workshop recently as well, which kind of sparked that one as well.
So not only is he a nerd for games, he's a tabletop nerd like you.
Yeah, he falls into basically all the categories so far, and anime and stuff. He's talking about being chased by... No, he said he got saved. Somebody tried to mug him in Glasgow, and somebody dressed as Naruto saved him, or something. I can't remember. I don't know.
That's fantastic. I want to know more about that story.
Something like somebody.
Next time you speak to him, get it off of him. get to the bottom of that story.
Anyway, so I
need to match up the dates to see if it was me or not.
I've completely lost tangent on where I was going before.
I know. When Naruto is saving people from muggings in real life, it does kind of get derailed.
So where was I?
You were talking about the nerd, people matching up to descriptions of them, etc.
People in magazines. Yeah. So I'm starting wondering whether or not people that, like, anonymous people on websites and stuff, like big websites that you don't know like what they look like, how old they are, etc. That could play a really big... I mean, if you're somebody writing a review for something and they're in their 20s who won't have a massive back catalogue of, like, understanding, gaming.
I think you mean early 20s, like really early.
I'm not talking about having experience of playing Pong when it first came out, or Space Invaders when it first came out. I'll hold my hands up and say that's fair enough.
I played Centipede when it first came out.
But... having had probably twice as much experience in gaming as some of these people potentially is probably a big thing. If they're going to be pigeonholed into certain, they've only had experience of recent games and recent types of games and stuff. Imagine if we go 10 years down from now and the average person's like majority of their time has been playing Call of Duty games. That is their CV for writing, gaming reviews, and that's what they've got.
Can you also argue that the lack of nostalgia makes them impartial?
There is that, but you can't justify things that happen now, and you can't rate things that happen now unless you've got experience with things that happened in the past. You've got no...
Oh, yes, experience is important.
You don't have a point of comparison.
You just have to be careful not to let nostalgia overtake your experience.
Ooh, rose-tinted specs.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think we'll be like that in the future? Back in my day, controllers...
I'm already like that.
Controllers only had 2 analog sticks, and you didn't have to stick this cable in your ass and this one up your nose, and... you got to wear clothes, and I don't know. Your pills were...
Let's wrap up.
And fish ate your brains.
Okay, stop now. Stop. Okay, so if anyone would like to get in touch to insult him, or with more 5 game descriptions for us to fail to guess, braingohurty@gmail.com.
Or find me a crazy picture. I don't want to see porn. That is...
or anything, like a genuine real heading of a newspaper.
Yes, in fact, that's it. Page. Yes, you have to find a crazy newspaper, or make
like one of those women's magazines. No, don't make their own. I want to see legitimate real ones.
Legitimate, crazy, real world, like... No, it doesn't have to be a front page, just an article in a magazine, or a newspaper segment or something. If it's front page, so be it. I want to see one of those crazy American ones.
Young mother asks, is my baby eating me from the inside out?
I married Bigfoot, find out why inside. Something like that.
Anything to get you to buy it.
UFOs stole my wheelie bins.
Says talking wheelie bin.
Mother of 3.
Mother of 3. recycle bins, food bins, whatever. I think we're done.
I think we are. Is there time for Dead Island? There's always time for
no, my voice hurts.
My head hurts.